to come and
Okay.
pass it to the speaker.
Yeah.
And they can have like a little encouragement.
Yeah, that's great. You
That
would
was Adelaide.
Yes.
She called me.
Yeah, she called. Her speech is Immigrant. Let's welcome Patricia.
And fellow Toastmasters and guests. I was born in Yorkshire, England, and I went to a little French convent near a village called Haworth, where the Brontes lived. And I was very obstreperous at school, and I put ink in the holy water so that when the nuns did the sign of the cross, they got ink all over their white wimple. So they wanted to expel me, and my father gave them a case of wine so they could raffle it off, and nuns love raffling things off, so I was allowed to stay. The war broke out when I was 12, because I'm 79. No, 89, crikey, I'm just took 10 years off. We were all evacuated in England, and we had to wear, I was 12, I could have told them my name, with a big sign with your name and address on it. You were thrown on a train with a carrier bag full of 3 days' food, which I ate in 3 hours on this plane. And we were all put in a little village on the stage of a town hall where people had to choose you. Everybody in the village had to take one child. And I was not chosen because I was fat, and things were rationed in England, so they thought I would eat them out of house and home. So the only person that would have me, or had to have me, was the lord of the manor. He had a stately home and 2,000 acres. And I sat at the end of a table much longer than this, and he sat at the other, and we never spoke. But he did improve my table manners, and he taught me how to ride at hounds, and he took me, if another noble family came into the area to live, he taught me the manners of nobility. He would leave his calling card with the edge turned down, which denotes that he personally left his card, which gives that family permission to call on him. It doesn't work like that in Sarasota. When I was 17, I went to the Guildhall in London because I always wanted to be an actress. My first part was, I was a dead body and covered with a sheet, and my mother came every night and she would say, "You were wonderful, you didn't breathe." One of our famous actors, John Gielgud, had to arrange for a company to go out to entertain the troops. And so I volunteered immediately. It was the worst winter. It was a winter like this in the north. And people were starving in England, no food and miserable and no heating. And I was put on a troop ship with 12 women and 2,000 men. I thought life was really taking off. And it was such a change from the convent. So I landed in Egypt, and we toured all the places that you read about now where the beheadings are going on. ISIS was in all these lands. We went to Iran, Iraq, Libya, Jordan, Israel. Israel was not created then. I was there when it was created, actually. And it was incredible. And after 6 months of being in this play, we were given a week's holiday. But unlike this lovely speaker who is deeply religious, I was in a convent too long. And I did not choose to go to the Holy Land like everybody else. I went to the Western Desert because my grandfather had had a big map with all the fighting in the Western Desert, and I wanted to go home and tell him that I'd been there. So I was flown in a Flying Sutherland. They only built 2. They were the biggest seaplanes in the world. And when we sort of showbiz people traveled, we had to wear a uniform with 1 pip, we were second lieutenants, because if we were captured, we would be spies and we would be shot. So I sat next to a general, and I was quite sexy at 18, and he looked at me and he said, may I ask why you're on this plane? So I said, I'm very sorry, sir, I can't tell you. And he thought I was part of MI5 or something. So I landed in this little place, Tobruk, and I was given a young lieutenant who had the unfortunate name of Captain Ball, and he had teeth that were sticking up perpendicular to his face, because orthodontia was not invented in England, it was invented here. And he took me out on a little yacht, and there were no women. I mean, there were a couple of Arab women, but no women in Tobruk. And when we came back into this bay, and there were 2,000 naked British soldiers on the beach sunbathing. It was thrilling. And this poor guy called out, "There's a woman on board!" And so they all clapped their hands over their privates and twinkled over the hill. Life has been going well ever since. So then I met my husband in Cairo. He was half Lebanese, half Italian, very rich. And he followed me to England. I went back to the Guildhall to finish my teaching certificate. And his father sent us a telegram saying, when we married, nationalism is growing in Egypt. I want you to go to Italy and start a business. So we had all this money, and we thought, well, people, if there's another war, will have to eat. So we started a biscuit factory. The biscuits were so horrible that we couldn't sell them. The warehouse was full of boxes of biscuits, and we had 7 little red Fiat vans trying to sell these biscuits. So I said, okay, let's change the name and call them dog biscuits. And unfortunately, dogs didn't like them either. So his father sent us another telegram saying, come back to Cairo. It is cheaper for me if you never work again. So for 8 years, I lived in glorious splendor. Masseurs awakened me in the morning with, rubbed down with oil with 2 drops of arpège. I was put in a foam bath. I was taken on the terrace for breakfast. It was very nice. And so after 8 glorious years, NASA took over the Suez Canal, and the British and the French and the Israelis parachuted into Egypt. And it's a horrible feeling when your fellow citizens are invading a country and you're there. But the Americans, led by John Foster Dulles, said, we have to give Egypt its independence. So we were all thrown out, the British, the Jews, the French, and the Italians left after we did. The Italians ran the country. They did all the telecommunications. The French did all the Suez Canal and all sorts of other things. The British ran the country. And so suddenly Egypt collapsed after that. Oh, and so anyway, we came to America with nothing. I got a babysitting job. My husband loved Louis Armstrong, so he called up his manager and suggested that I should be the upstairs maid for Louis and he should be the chauffeur. And the manager said, Louis, don't live like that. So we couldn't do that. So anyway, I walked into Time magazine and said I was a Middle East expert, and they gave me a paper. How many books have you written? I put 3. How many languages? 5. How many degrees? 2. If you're going to lie, you might as well do it well. And they couldn't reach anybody in Egypt because diplomatic relations were cut off. There were no computers to check up on you, so it was easy to lie. And, yes. Oh, sorry.
I just want to be aware of the time.
Time.
You need to wrap up.
Yes.
I did.
You're
Okay,
over time.
sorry.
To be
I didn't
continued.
see a light here.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
that's a red light.
I thought the red light was a warning.
Or the yellow.
Okay, all I can say is that we came here with $1,000 each, and we've done well, and this is a wonderful country. All you have to do is to work hard and you can make it. And if women have their backs against the wall, they come out fighting. So thank God for women in America.
Yeah.
You should have given me 7 hours. No?